You think you're learning. Scrolling through Twitter threads at 7 a.m., listening to podcasts while you work out, watching YouTube summaries of books you'll never read, consuming article after article about success, productivity, and self-improvement. You tell yourself you're getting ahead, building knowledge, staying informed. You're not. You're destroying your ability to think. And the worst part? You don't even realize it's happening. Here's what everyone believes. More information equals more knowledge equals more success. The smartest people consume the most content. The most successful people read the most books. The winners are the ones who stay on top of every trend, every idea, every new framework. That's the lie you've been sold. And it's killing your potential. Because here's the truth nobody wants to admit. Information overload isn't about having too much information. It's about using information consumption as a drug to avoid the one thing that actually creates results: action. Let me prove it to you. Dr. Daniel Levitin, neuroscientist at McGill University, discovered something terrifying. The average person today consumes 34 gigabytes of information per day. That's 100,000 words, 5 times more than what people consumed just 30 years ago. You know what happened to our productivity in that same time period? It went down, not up, down. We're consuming 5 times more information and producing less results. How is that possible? Because your brain isn't designed to process that much data. When you overload your prefrontal cortex with constant information intake, something catastrophic happens. Your brain stops being able to distinguish between consumption and production. You finish a podcast about building a business, and your brain gives you a hit of dopamine like you actually built something. You read a thread about discipline, and your mind rewards you as if you actually practice discipline. You watch a video about getting in shape, and you feel accomplished without ever stepping foot in a gym. Psychologists call this substitute satisfaction. Your brain can't tell the difference between learning about something and doing something, so it rewards you either way. You're getting high on information while your life stays exactly the same. But it gets worse. Stanford University conducted a study on multitasking and information processing. They found that people who regularly consume multiple streams of information, checking email while listening to podcasts while reading articles, suffer from something called continuous partial attention. Your brain literally loses the ability to focus deeply on anything. You can't read a book for more than 10 minutes without checking your phone. You can't have a conversation without your mind wandering. You can't work on a single task without the urge to switch to something else. You've trained your brain to be perpetually distracted. And once that happens, deep work becomes impossible. Strategic thinking becomes impossible. Creating anything meaningful becomes impossible. You become a collector of information instead of a creator of value. Think about the last business idea you had. Did you execute it, or did you consume more content about how to execute it? Think about the last skill you wanted to build. Did you practice it, or did you watch more videos about people who mastered it? You're stuck in what I call the research trap. Always learning, never doing. Always preparing, never starting. Always consuming, never creating. And here's the psychological mechanism that makes this so dangerous. Information consumption feels productive. It feels like you're doing something. It feels like progress. But it's not progress. It's procrastination disguised as productivity. Every hour you spend consuming content is an hour you didn't spend building something real. Every podcast you listen to is a workout you didn't do, a chapter you didn't write, a sale you didn't make, a skill you didn't practice. The opportunity cost of information overload isn't just your attention, it's your entire life. Naval Ravikant said something that changed my perspective forever. The most successful people I know read less than you think and execute more than you can imagine. They consume less information and produce more results because they understand something you don't. Information is abundant, but attention is scarce. Knowledge is everywhere, but wisdom comes from application. Ideas are worthless until they're executed. You don't have an information problem. You have an execution problem masked as a learning obsession. Here's what's really happening in your brain. Every time you consume information without applying it, you're creating what neuroscientists call cognitive clutter. It's like opening 100 browser tabs and never closing any of them. Your mental RAM is maxed out. Your processing power is overwhelmed. You can't think clearly because your mind is drowning in unprocessed data. And the solution isn't to consume better information. It's to stop consuming altogether. I know that sounds extreme. I know you're thinking, but I need to stay informed. I need to keep learning. I need to know what's happening. Do you? What if I told you that most of the information you consume is completely irrelevant to your actual goals? What if I told you that 95% of what you read, watch, and listen to will have zero impact on your life? Because it's true. You're consuming content about entrepreneurship while you should be making sales calls. You're reading about fitness while you should be at the gym. You're learning about relationships while you should be talking to your partner. You're confusing input with output, and that confusion is costing you everything. So here's the radical solution: information fasting. Just like you can fast from food to reset your metabolism, you can fast from information to reset your mind. Here's how it works. For the next 7 days, consume zero discretionary information. No social media, no podcasts, no YouTube, no news, no articles, no books except fiction before bed. Nothing educational, nothing informative, nothing productive. Just silence. Your brain will panic. You'll feel anxious. You'll feel like you're missing out. You'll feel like you're falling behind. Good. That anxiety is proof of addiction. That discomfort is proof you've been using information as a coping mechanism. Push through it. After 3 days, something remarkable happens. The mental fog starts to lift. Your thoughts become clearer. Your focus sharpens. Ideas you've been trying to force suddenly appear effortlessly. After 7 days, you'll have more clarity than you've had in years. Because here's what happens when you stop consuming. Your brain finally has space to process everything you've already learned. All those podcasts, all those books, all those articles you consumed but never applied, your mind finally gets to integrate them. You stop being a passive receiver and become an active thinker. And that's when the real transformation happens. You start creating instead of consuming. You start building instead of learning. You start executing instead of researching. You realize that you already know everything you need to know to take the next step. You've just been avoiding that step by telling yourself you need to learn more first. But you don't need more information. You never did. You need less information and more execution. You need less input and more output. You need less consumption and more creation. The most dangerous lie of the information age is that knowledge is power. It's not. Applied knowledge is power. Everything else is just noise. So here's my challenge to you, and I want you to take this seriously. Right now, before you watch another video, before you consume another piece of content, I want you to write down one thing you already know how to do but haven't done yet. One skill you've learned but haven't applied. One idea you've had but haven't executed. One action you've been avoiding by telling yourself you need to learn more first. Write it down and then do it today, not tomorrow, not after you consume more content about how to do it better. Today.
because the gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't filled with information, it's filled with action. Stop consuming, start creating. Stop learning, start doing. Stop researching, start building. Your brain doesn't need more input. It needs space to process what it already has. Information overload isn't destroying your brain because you're consuming too much. It's destroying your brain because you're using consumption to avoid the discomfort of creation. And creation is where all the real growth happens. If this hit you in a way that actually made you uncomfortable, if you felt called out by this message, then do something about it right now.
In the comments, tell me the one thing you're going to stop consuming and the one thing you're going to start creating. Make that commitment public. Make yourself accountable. Then subscribe to this channel if you want more uncomfortable truths that actually change your life instead of comfortable lies that keep you stuck. See you in the next video, or better yet, don't see me. Go create something instead.